Hello and welcome to Growing and Eating Plants and Yoga Pants. My name is Rebecca Birdwell. Welcome to my kitchen. Today we are going to be whipping up the morning shake, and I have been doing these shakes since 2009. It was an inspiration from a book that I read by Dr. Mark Hyman. And yes, I said Dr. Mark Hyman. He wrote a book that was like a 10-day meal plan that was to clean everything out of your diet that could possibly be inflammatory. So now, since then, I have changed the recipe up a little bit, but I continue to do a morning shake every morning. And the good thing for me is that when I worked full time, I was meal prepping, and so I could make 4 of these shakes at one time, and that was my breakfast, and I could just take it with me. So I hope everybody's doing well. We are on day 16 of since the official pandemic was announced for COVID-19. And the mission of Growing and Eating Plants and Yoga Pants is for me to teach you everything I know, and that's not everything, but everything that I know, so that you can grow your own food and then you can make your own food. And then when I'm not in the kitchen or the garden, then I'll be on my yoga mat. And so we'll also be sharing that as well. So let me just get going on the quick shakes. This recipe right here is kind of my just go-to shake because I can get almost all of this in the grocery store. So what I get in the grocery store is I can get organic apples and I can get organic bananas. Now, Dr. Hyman would probably say bananas aren't the best choice because they're high in sugars, even though it's natural sugars. But we like bananas here, so that's what we're going for. So I have 2 apples, 2 bananas. I like to do the green smoothie, so I always have something green growing in the garden. It's into winter right now, so we've got a lot of kale, we've got a lot of beet greens. In the summer, we'll move to cucumbers because we'll have a ton of cucumbers, that's green. So it's really whatever you have. Also, whenever we start producing fruits, either here or at the farmer's market, we'll switch out and not use the grocery store fruit. So figs, peaches, pears, even watermelon. So all that's good to put in your shake too. These carrots were grown here and at Green Gate Farms, and that's part of our CSA delivery. Now the protein that I use is pumpkin seeds. The reason I'm using pumpkin seeds is because I can get those organic at H-E-B. I was using almonds, that's another good choice. Any nut is good, but they do not sell organic almonds at H-E-B. So I actually did some research on pumpkin seeds, and they have a ton of protein. I also use flax seeds, which was part of the original recipe from the Dr. Hyman's recipe, and this brings in some omegas. I'm like blanking on what they do, but they're good, really good for you. So let's get started. First, I am going to grind these flax seeds into a powder, and I just do that, and I think that this is just a coffee grinder, but we have it dedicated to just this job. So it works really well with a lot of things that you need to grind, but we have one dedicated to our coffee and one dedicated to our flaxseed. So in the blender, now you can use any blender. I use a Vitamix because I love it, and I'm not selling Vitamixes, by the way. I'm just telling you guys what I love to use. In with the pumpkin seeds. I cut the apples and leave the core out. And all my leftovers of my food, if the chickens can't eat it, then it goes into the compost. Now, I don't know if you've heard, but chickens shouldn't have apple seeds because they have a poisonous, I just turned the oven on. They have a poisonous aspect to them that's not good for chickens, probably not good for humans either, I would assume. So I cut the core out, and I put the core goes into the compost. So these are some gigantic apples. So I might just use 1.5 today. The good thing about this blender is it really chops it up. I mean, you'd be surprised. I don't hardly chop the vegetables up when I put them in. But I do try to put the more difficult things to chop in the bottom. So the banana and the leafy greens would go last. Okay, so let's see, banana. And again, that goes into the compost because we garden, so we want to provide compost and nitrogen for our vegetables, and we want to keep things out of the landfill as much as we can, right? Landfill last is what I look at. Reduce, reuse, recycle. So I am just gonna barely chop up these veggies. So I'm going with this kale first because that was in my fridge and needed to be eaten the quickest. I had to pull out quite a bit of it. It was going bad, and I hate letting food go bad. For all of you out there and my friends that know me, I'm kind of obsessed with not letting food go bad. I either get it in my mouth, our mouth, or I give it to the chickens and before it goes bad. Once it goes bad, it goes to the compost. So I'm gonna add a few beet greens just because. I'm gonna smush it down. Then I am gonna add water. We have an awesome, I just made a mess. We have an awesome reverse osmosis system, so I don't have to filter my water anymore. It's automatically filtered when it comes out of my sink. Wow. Okay, so I usually take this over to the sink when I do it, but I wanted to stay in the video, so it's a little bit messier. Okay. I typically fill it up to this curve right here. And grab a towel. So I didn't use these greens, so I'll save these for next time. All right, it gets really super loud, but make sure the lid is on because I haven't had the lid on before and it started to bubble up. And all right, here we go. On its own. Whoa, I put a lot in there. Okay, so you might not want to stuff it this far, but it's okay if you do because, oh my. Okay, I'm just gonna run it again. That's funny. This doesn't typically happen. Leave it to going on a video for something like this to happen. That's okay. You know what? It's all good. Everything's all good in the kitchen, just like it is in the garden. We're just going to run it again. See if that works. Oh yeah, that works. Time, but the good thing about this thing is it runs for a certain amount of time. If you can program it. So that's an extra thick shake. So you can experiment with what you put in here. And for those of you that are looking at this now and going, oh my gosh, it's green, yuck. I'm telling you that the bananas make it sweet. The carrots are actually sweet. Sometimes I put beets in instead of carrots. Beets are really sweet too. So I think you'd be surprised. I do recommend definitely putting a protein in there though. And my protein for this was the pumpkin seeds. Is if you don't put a protein in, you're going to be hungry and it's not going to last you. So I have 4 shakes, and this will be the one I drink today. So the rest of them get put into the fridge with lids, and they settle in the refrigerator a little bit. So every day when I take one out, I typically add some water into the top, shake it, and then drink it. And I also usually let it sit out for a little while so that it's not ice cold when I drink it. Thank you for joining me today. You are watching Growing and Eating Plants in Yoga Pants, and our mission is to teach you everything that I know. Again, I don't know everything, but everything I know about growing your own food and then making it in your kitchen. And then anytime other than that, you'll see me on the mat and we will be doing yoga. So thank you for joining us.